I don't like this one. You're not gonna like it either. But there's a problem with immigration in this country, and there's propaganda that has existed ever since the Liberal government came to power, especially again after 2016 and the Arab Spring and the wave of immigrants that rushed into Europe, fleeing Libya and Northern Africa and the Middle East and so on and so forth. I don't blame the individuals that came here, but as is the pattern, there's lots of videos online. The fact that so many of these people end up on government assistance and they have no jobs, and then they end up in gangs, and then they commit crimes. They commit rape, they commit theft, uh, and they commit murder in the open space in broad daylight. You make your own bed, okay? Like, you come here and you waste the opportunity, I'm not going to respect you. But if you come here and you make something of yourself, of course I will. As will any other Canadian, but not at the price of our own genetic lineages. Everybody in North America is an immigrant, including the natives, whether they like to say it or not. Because historically, as with the science and the history, the Inuit, they came over the Bering Strait. And as it falls in line with my disagreement with the out of Africa theory and my statement that, humanity had five distinct origins of the species. Each of us having, and this falls in line with, how doctors treat different demographics and ethnic backgrounds, because each of us comes from a different acclimatization in the world, and so on and so forth. Like, please do your research. Don't come at me for me saying these things. I'm just a messenger. Like, don't shoot. Okay, like, I'm just tired of the preferential treatment to these people. I'm tired of the identity politics and the minority interest favoring these people that come here at the price of the people that are here, like the veterans. Like, not to fan the fires of disagreement, but when the child care benefit, as I stated in Canadian Military Drama Bomb, when the child care benefit is up to $6,833 per year, and the military pension per month. Let's see. After 10 years of service, right? And these people get the child care benefit right away as soon as they come here. And as what was happening during COVID, they were just slamming these people into the hotels with very loose screening. And you have the Roxham Road thing happening, where the Americans are just shoving people out because they don't have any documentation, and they become part of this slavery triangle, because the corporations in this country, they support it. They support human trafficking, right? Because by definition, the corporation is psychopathic. It doesn't give a hoot or a flying fudge about anything or any person as long as the job gets done. And from personal experience, right, having seen these people in these organizations, and they want to go home. They don't want to work like a slave, and I don't blame them. It's this big trap and this idea that, oh, it's great to be here, but the debt slavery is so prevalent, and it's just absolute propaganda. To say that they're going to have a better life here than they do at home, and then I speak to them, and they're just like, no, I don't want to be here anymore, because I traded all the good things in life for money, and now I'm in a position where I can't go home. And that's the truth of the matter. Listening to them, because like I'm trying to figure out, how long? It's like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 6 years to get your landed status. Let me look at this because I got more than a couple of things open here for this. And okay, and then like I'm gonna read off of the Statistics Canada right from the website, and it's absolutely disgusting how they glamorize this, and they ignore the population that's here at large, basically by stating this, that's saying that we can't have enough children, and they're not encouraging people that are here to have children. They just rather flood Canada with these new people. Again, I got nothing against you for being here, but you're participating in the erasure of Canadian culture that used to exist. And the by the research, there's two different models or concepts as to how people integrate into society. So you have the melting pot, and then you have the tossed salad, right? As is the sociology. And everyone wants to think that, oh, it's a melting pot, but as the integration goes, most people don't even bother learning or are encouraged to have fluency in French or in English. They get by on very little, and then they create their own little communities, and then they don't go outside of them. I'm not the only one that observes this, and it's the truth. Unfortunately, it's the truth. And then the politicians, they appeal to these people with more benefits, and they work themselves into the government organizations, and they give preferential treatment to each other, which again, I don't blame them, because we ourselves are not doing that so much, as far as I can tell. Every generation that comes here has to, by this idea of initiation, so to speak, into capitalism, that they got to work their way up the food chain. But because of the decimation of the middle class, because of debt slavery and commercialism, the lack of mental health support, the lack of healthcare support, and the lack of education to do away with these things within the institutions that raise our children. The school systems never ever taught any of us, as far as I can tell from any of my experiences or from like first-hand accounts, that they were ever educated on how to deal with their finances. And by that ignorance, they were taken advantage of. And the same means happens for these immigrants. So, and then they get trafficked around by these coyotes that call themselves immigration lawyers. They charge them up the wazoo. Like, if you have information about this, please tell us, by personal experience. And I'll reiterate this. I want the best of you to be here. I really do. We need you. But not at the price of the previous culture, right? This idealism that, this postmodern idealism that you can be whatever you want to be is not the case, because you can't change your genetics and you can't change your sex. When you die and, an anthropologist or an archaeologist goes and digs up your body, your bones will still be the same. They'll be like, oh, that's a man. Well, that's a woman. By the size of the hips and the size of the shoulders. It really annoys me. It does. It really annoys me. Because like there's this, okay, we're reducing in population. Let's get into this. I'm annoyed. I'm really annoyed. Again, the glamorization, even from the government. Okay, so Canada has a long history of immigration. Millions of people from all over the world have chosen and continue to choose Canada as their new home. In 2021, more than 8.3 million people, or almost 1/4 of the population, were or had ever been a landed immigrant or permanent resident in Canada. This is the largest proportion since Confederation, topping the previous 1921 record of 22.3% and the highest among the G7. Given that the population of Canada continues to age, and fertility is below the population replacement level, today's immigration is the main driver of population growth. If these trends continue, based on Statistics Canada's recent population projections, immigrants could represent 29 to 34.0% of the population of Canada by 2041. So you know what that means within 3 generations? That means anybody or any family that was here that contributed to the building up of society that we've come to enjoy will be absolutely erased. Because, of the child care benefit, it was near $7,000 per child per year, right? And, by observation, I have someone down the block here that has 7 children. 7. All under the age of 10. And I'm not happy about that. Because here I am sitting, dealing with the affects of our society by allowing, any kind of public trust or any kind of relationship, personal relationship in the public sphere to be eroded and decimated by social media and dating applications, and then being hijacked by postmodern ideologies. This touchy-feely, hopey, changey stuff that the Trudeau government has taken on, and the Liberals, in cooperation with the NDP. Absolutely disgusting. Okay, so Trudeau is quoted as saying that he has a problem with old stock Canadians, right? So this is off the CBC.
Mr. Harper in the debate yesterday used a term that many Canadians found offensive. That term was old stock Canadians. Why did you not take that opportunity on that platform to call Mr. Harper on that term?
Well, I think one of the things that we've seen is Mr. Harper is always eager to use the politics of division, always eager to highlight differences between Canadians rather than pulling them together. And quite frankly, Mr. Harper's approach has been well seen for a long time by people who've been following politics. His willingness to set new Canadians against people who've been here for generations, against the people who've been here for millennia, in the cases of our First Nations people. So the fact is, Mr. Harper is yet again highlighting that he doesn't believe that a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, that there are different categories of Canadian, and that, quite frankly, is not just offensive, it's harmful to the
country. Okay, I'm just looking at the people in the background here, right? And a lot of them are from India, right? They're Sikhs, or from Pakistan. And again, I got nothing personal with you being here, but you're being used as pawns. That's how it is. Immigrants have been used as pawns, political pawns, to ascend this fella to his position of power. And then when it comes down to it, as the Machiavellianism, as soon as something goes wrong, he'll burn you. He'll burn you without even thinking about it. Right? And then from personal experience, I've had people that are new to this country and have businesses take advantage of me and steal my money, which I don't really appreciate. And then I go and complain about it and nothing happens. It's on my Instagram. I have proof about it. So don't come at me for telling you the truth, right? You want to call this propaganda? Go ahead and call it propaganda. But this is our history right now, in this very moment, right? And thinking about my family lineage, right? My father's family, having come from basically nothing in Nova Scotia, and then emigrating from Nova Scotia to Toronto, and making their life there, and then my mother's family, coming from the UK, and then making something out of themselves after getting off the boats in the UK, right? And again, I don't have hard evidence about this because I haven't done a whole lot of research, so bear with me. But as is our family mythos, right? English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, French, and métier, because of Nova Scotia, with a possibility. I'm not gonna claim this, right? But because like a lot of people are like, oh look, I'm black. No, I'm not interested in that. Everyone in Canada that was of the old generation was a mutt, right? There was intermingling and interbreeding with the natives, as is our heritage, right? There's a lot of people with just this tone of skin that have native blood in them. And so it's an insult for this to happen. It's an insult to the people that were here and that were welcoming to us, right? Because they come in here and they have all these advantages, and it's not an even playing field anymore, right? Equality versus equity. The starting point. And I've worked my entire life to basically have very little at this point except a few material goods and no relationship, because the dating applications are giving preference to people that are not from here, and then have because women have a preference for novelty, and trying to select through the genetics for something different. Then there's even more of an advantage. There's a lot of people like me who are not happy about this. It's not because of our character. It's because there's manipulation of the psychology, which is the basis of propaganda. Okay, so I'm going to dig something up that's about this population decline. From high school. There's a lot of intelligent people in this country. Let's not forget about that. Okay, Canadian world politics. See if I can find this. I still have my notes. You should never throw away your notes. Never throw away your textbooks, because you never know when you're going to need them. Okay. Okay, this is inconvenient. There's a lot of this. Okay, so like a lot of this is from my last year in 2004. Okay, I'm gonna find this on the internet. Didn't have that prepared. Okay, so this is from USA.gov. The world population in 2004 reached 6.4 billion, and it continues to grow by some 80 million each year. Most future population growth will be in countries that have relatively large numbers of young people, where large families are still the norm. Sub-Saharan Africa and Western Asia are the fastest growing regions of the world. In contrast, much of the industrialized world is experiencing much slower growth or even population decline. The United States is an exception in the industrialized world mainly because of immigration and somewhat higher birth rates. Future population prospects for any given country are shaped in large part by the age profile of its citizens. In Western Europe, only 17% of the population is under 15, while in Western Africa, 44% is under 15. In coming decades, Western Africa will see a major growth in the productive and reproductive age groups, while Europe will see a shift towards more elderly population. So, we saw this happening, long time ago. And then there's something from the Hoover Institute I saw on YouTube. It has to, let's do population. So you just go to YouTube, and it's called the depopulation bomb.
Prosperous, democratic area full of open societies. Assimilation works well for a lot of newcomers there, but if you do the compare and contrast, I know which country I want to have the assimilation record of. It's going to be the USA. There is...
So basically what this is in the middle of it. This is at 28 minutes, and it's just an opportunity to talk about that, as I was touching on. We don't push for integration as much as the United States does, in my opinion, right? And again, I can't stand the manipulation of these people that see and then they, I'm not going to blame anyone in particular, but it doesn't seem like there's any respect. That's what I'm saying here, is that I don't feel respect by the people that don't treat this place very well, and they bring their problems with them. Right? That's very reasonable. Right? Don't bring your problems with you. Leave your baggage at the door. Okay? And that's it. Right? Canada doesn't need people who don't contribute. Okay, so going back to StatsCan. Again, you can accuse me of cherry picking, but all the information is here. Almost 1 in 4 people, 23% counted during the 2021 census are or have been a landed immigrant or permanent resident in Canada, as I was stating. Just over 1.3 million new immigrants settled permanently in Canada from 2016 to 2021. So how come we didn't encourage people of my age group, if not younger, to have children and to get off of birth control and to get off of antidepressants and start families? It's because of this propaganda behind the fact of the matter, right? Or the facts of the matter. with the rainbow warriors. Again, all this correlates, with not causation, because it's all one big mess, and it just exacerbated, and trying to bring in people. Again, this is you look at the decline of intelligence over the years, where again, this isn't kind to say, but North American, Northern European, and Asians have historically higher intelligence rates. And like the more the population is from the originating country, the lower the intelligence. People are going to come at me for saying this. I know it. But honestly, if I don't say it, it falls in line, right? Like with other people are saying on YouTube. And then the criticism will be always trying to fan the fires of division. But basically what Trudeau was saying was a bunch of hogwash, right? And touching on that little video, the people's body language behind him was shameful. They're like, I can't believe I'm standing behind this guy. The one fella hangs his head and looks away. Because he knows that he's being used for a photo op. Let's not forget that. Politicians will use any kind of means to rise to power when it comes to the election cycle. And they'll burn you because they can. 26 minutes. Okay, so pay rates for officers. Not that one. A veteran's current payment, as I said, $1,154.90 per month. So you multiply that by 12. Let's get the calculator out here. $13,858. And so, $7,000 per child under the age of 18. Let's see. Okay, so what's the senior's pension? Old age security. For, average of $681.17, the CPP OAS. $1,306.57 per month. That is not enough. It's not enough to even survive right now with the current interest rates, or with the amount of debt that people have, and the level of debt serviceability that was incurred and increased over COVID, with all these other benefits and the advantage. How much of the CERB disappeared? It's ridiculous. Where did the money go? Nobody knows. Again, not all this is factual. Some of it is second or third hand, right? You got to use your head when reading this stuff. But the attitude is in the facts, is right there, right? There's definitely preferential treatment to newcomers, and we're not. And then you want to talk about, as I was stating, the gangs, the illegal activities, and then the human trafficking and the enslavement of these new people, right? Because they get into these positions where the companies are getting benefits to hold them there, and then they're cutting the rates, right, and giving them a lesser pay and pocketing the proceeds and the difference. We can't have this because there's propaganda around the immigration, and I don't like saying it. Because again, we should be supporting people of my generation, if not younger, to have more children. What's wrong with our ethnicity? Why are we the problem? Is it because we're educated and we come from an advantage? This privilege that they so speak of? I don't feel like a privileged person. I really don't. I'll come back to this at another time, so I don't feel like talking about it anymore.